Hi, I'm Marie Brennan, and I'm going to be reading a selection of a story from my collection, The Nine Lands. This particular collection, all of the stories take place in the same world. It was kind of my first big undertaking in world building when I was a fairly young writer. And I'm going to be reading a selection from the beginning of my story, King Speaker. The whole thing is too long for me to read here, but I will read the opening scene. I have not spoken with my own voice in nearly 7 years. I knew this would be my fate long before it happened, but only now do I understand what it means. They took my voice away in Anahata. Standing in the high temple, I prayed to each face of the god and goddess, speaking one final time in their praise. Then the priests took my voice away. They bound my mouth. They feigned cutting out my tongue. They gave my voice as a gift to heaven. Taking a voice away is easily done, but this was more. I had to be prepared for the voice of another. Thus I spent 8 days in silence, in purification. They stopped up my ears with wax that I might not hear profane sounds. I bathed in blood, in wine, in milk, and then in clean water. I ate austere foods. The silence beat at me, maddening me more every day, until I wanted to tear the wax from my ears and scream simply for blessed sound. I wanted to speak, but I had no voice. On the 8th day, quiet fell over the holy city. No bells sounded from dawn onward, and the markets were closed. Noise was forbidden on pain of dreadful punishment. The king had come to Anahata. I met him for the first time in the sacred garden of the temple. Passing through an archway of fire, I found myself on a path of flower petals, which bruised delicately beneath my bare feet. 2 attendants clothed me in a robe of more petals, fragile silk holding blossoms of the flowers for which the days are named. Still barefoot, I proceeded, marking along the path the measured steps of my dance. For that moment, they say, I was the goddess triumphant, but I felt no different. Only nervous that I might misstep in some way. They had removed the wax at dawn, and even the tiny, faint sounds I had heard since then were a balm for my mind and soul. Soon I would hear more. A new voice awaited me. The king sat on a bench at the heart of the garden, a delicately carved staff of cypress in one hand. He was dressed simply, in an unadorned linen robe, the garb of an old man. I knew he was to play the role of the keeper today, the eldest face of the god. No one had told me he was a mere boy. 15, I learned later, younger than myself. His smooth, youthful face lifted to see me, and in it I saw all the burden this ritual held for him. The new weight of kingship, the fear he would not be equal to it, and the determination to do what he must. I did not know what to make of this boy I found waiting for me. I had envisioned a king like the old one, whom I had seen a few times before. Instead, I saw a youth, and I didn't know what that would mean for me, for him, for us. I imagine he asked himself the same questions. But the ritual did not give us the time or space for doubts. He rose as I approached, and together we danced, 8 measures of movement, repeated by kings and purified women throughout the centuries. At their end, I laid a kiss on his lips, too focused on the prescribed steps of this ritual to tremble at kissing the king. He lay down on the scattered petals as the keeper accepts his gentle death at the hands of the goddess triumphant. I completed my dance in a circle around him, invoking the circle of the year, and then I knelt and raised him up once more, for I was spring, and with spring comes rebirth from death. Kneeling with me in the center of the garden, the king spoke. I am Shandahara Idri, he said, and you shall be my voice. That is the opening of the story. It is one in which the king's voice is considered too pure and powerful and dangerous to be heard by ordinary people. So the protagonist is a woman whose job is to hear his words and repeat them for other people to hear, which leads to some interesting effects when they run into problems. As I said, that is in my collection, The Nine Lands. You can get it in print or ebook edition in the Bookview Cafe bookstore.